let's look at what's actually happening. Because there's a moment in personal finance where the math completely changes, and almost nobody recognizes it when it arrives. The average American with a 30-year mortgage at current rates will pay roughly $350,000 in interest alone over the life of that loan. Not principal, not equity, pure interest. Money that leaves your account and never comes back. That $350,000, redirected into appreciating assets after the mortgage disappears, has the mathematical potential to grow into over $1.2 million within 20 years. Same income, same household. The difference between paying $350,000 to a bank and building yourself $1.2 million. Three forces make this work, and personal finance content almost never breaks them down properly. If you're making mortgage payments right now, think about the number that leaves your account every month. $1,500, $2,000, $2,800? You've been paying it for so long it feels like gravity, like something that just is. But it's not permanent, and the day it stops, three structural shifts activate simultaneously, and the people who understand them build wealth at a completely different pace than the people who don't. If you watched our video on the salary trap, you already know about personal money velocity, the speed at which your income flows through you and into someone else's hands. For most households with a mortgage, that velocity is punishing. The paycheck arrives, the mortgage pulls the largest chunk, and the rest scatters across bills and obligations. By month's end, almost nothing has pooled. Take a household earning around $85,000 after tax. Their mortgage payment is $2,200 a month, $26,400 a year. That's 31% of their after-tax income flowing straight to the bank. The day that payment stops, nearly a third of every dollar they earn is suddenly available for redirection. Now, here's the mechanism most people miss. A mortgage payment isn't discretionary spending. It's a fixed obligation. When it disappears, the freed income doesn't enter the same psychological category as a raise or a bonus, where the hedonic treadmill captures it and spending absorbs it. It enters a structural gap in your budget that you've already been living without for years. Research on financial behavior confirms this. People are significantly more likely to redirect freed obligatory income into savings than to redirect equivalent discretionary windfalls. Money you were already missing is easier to keep missing and redirect toward wealth building. This is your financial physics shifting. The mortgage trained you to live on 69% of your income. When it vanishes, that training becomes your greatest asset if you redirect instead of inflate. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He almost certainly never said it, but the math behind the attribution is real. Take that $26,400 a year and redirect it into a diversified index fund averaging 8% annual returns, below the S&P 500's historical average. After 5 years, you've accumulated roughly $162,000. After 10, around $407,000. After 20, over $1.2 million. But here's what reveals the real power. Of that $1.2 million, only $528,000 came from your actual contributions. The remaining $680,000, more than half, was generated by compound returns. Money making money on money that was already making money. Now, some of you are thinking, why not invest that money while still paying the mortgage? Keep the debt. Invest the spread. The mortgage rate is 6 or 7%, the market returns 8 to 10. On a spreadsheet, keeping the mortgage is technically optimal. In real life, it almost never works that way. Studies consistently show that households carrying mortgage debt invest significantly less than equivalent income households without it. The psychological weight of the obligation suppresses risk-taking. People with large debts allocate more conservatively, invest more sporadically, and pull money out of markets more often during downturns. Wealth is built by what you actually do, not by what a spreadsheet says you should do. And every month you delay that redirect is a month of compounding you never get back. In 2008, the US housing market collapsed. Prices fell 30 to 50%. Millions of families were foreclosed on. But inside that crisis, a sharp divide emerged. Families with mortgages were trapped, homes underwater, unable to sell, unable to refinance, credit destroyed. Their largest asset had become an anchor. But families without mortgages experienced the same price decline. But no lender could foreclose. They could stay indefinitely, wait for recovery, or use their stable position to buy additional real estate at crisis prices while everyone else was forced to sell. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the risk analyst who predicted the 2008 crisis in the Black Swan, popularized a concept called optionality, the ability to benefit from positive outcomes while being protected from negative ones. A paid-off home is the purest form of financial optionality most people will ever access. Economy booms, you capture full appreciation. Economy crashes, you can't be foreclosed. Lost your job, your burn rate drops by a third overnight. Opportunity emerges, you can borrow against your home at favorable terms because you represent zero default risk. And here's where it all connects. The velocity inversion frees your cash flow. The compounding unlock multiplies it. The optionality explosion protects and amplifies it. These three forces don't just add up, they compound each other. Freed cash flow feeds the compounding engine. Compounding builds the asset base. The asset base expands optionality. Optionality accelerates compounding further. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that only activates once the mortgage is gone. If you just trace that full loop in your head, you understand the paid-off house effect better than most financial advisors explain it. If you've been following this channel, you know we track shifts in phases. Here's where you fit and what to do about it. Phase 1. The long middle. You are in the mortgage. Payments feel permanent. Most of your early payments go to interest, so equity builds painfully slow. Your move? Pull up your amortization schedule. Find the month where principal payments overtake interest. That's your Phase 2 entry point. Even an extra $200 a month can move that entry point forward by 3 to 5 years, worth roughly $200,000 in terminal wealth on the numbers we just walked through. Phase 2. The acceleration window. The amortization schedule has flipped. More goes to principal than interest. The finish line is visible. Your move? Every extra dollar here eliminates a disproportionate amount of remaining interest. Cutting 2 years off the mortgage and redirecting that payment into investments 2 years sooner adds roughly $180,000 to the 20-year compounding outcome. That's the real price of those last 2 years of mortgage interest. Not the interest itself, but the compounding you forfeited by paying it. Phase 3. The unlock. The mortgage is gone. The three forces are available. Your move? Be honest with yourself. Since the mortgage ended, has your savings rate actually increased? Or did the money quietly redistribute into a nicer car, more dining out, upgraded subscriptions? The hedonic treadmill is powerful, but every month of freed mortgage payment that goes to consumption instead of compounding is a month of the paid-off house effect you're leaving on the table. Here's the number that makes all of this real. A family that pays off their mortgage 5 years early and redirects $2,200 a month for 25 years accumulates approximately $1.9 million. The same family on the standard timeline, starting 5 years later, accumulates roughly $1.1 million. Same income, same returns. The 5-year head start created an $800,000 difference. I share this not to create pressure. Some of you are not in the position to pay extra right now, and that's completely fine. The math is the same whether you activate it at 35 or 55. The numbers change, but the mechanics don't. Do one thing this week. Pull up your amortization schedule. Find the month where principal overtakes interest. Write it down. That's your Phase 2 entry point. Once you see it, you can start moving toward it. Tell me in the comments, which phase are you in? And if you've already paid off your home, what changed when the payment stopped? I want to hear from both sides. If this framework gave you a new way to think about your mortgage, subscribe. We break down the hidden mechanics behind personal finance and the broader economy every week. None of this is personal financial advice. It's education so you can build your own framework and make decisions that fit your role. Now you see the pattern. The only question is what you do with it.